morning. Thank you for joining me with another episode of Saturday Morning Tea with Author JB. This is your girl, Author JB, and I am back with a new season. And in this season, I want to bring up topics that will open conversations that need to be had as we are wanting to grow in areas in our lives that will help us to walk in our purpose and help us to fulfill our destinies in this one life we are gifted with. But before we get into the tea, I wanted to take some time out to say thank you for all of your comments and topic suggestions. All of it is so encouraging to me, so please keep them coming. I just wanted to make sure I took the time out to say thank you. Wow, guys, it's been an entire month since my last episode, and we are still fighting through this COVID-19 pandemic with no real end in sight. And every time you turn on the news, all you hear is bad news with very little glimmer of hope. Usually anyways. And I'm personally sick and tired of hearing the words social distancing, as if society wasn't already headed that way anyways with all this new technology. But with all of that, I have found some good in this experience. With all these things that look bad around us, there are some life lessons that can be solidified through this unprecedented event. One for me is all the things that I thought I needed to live a certain quality of life. I realized I didn't need all that stuff. I am enjoying this quiet lifestyle. I'm enjoying being less busy and having nowhere to go. Also, I realized that freezing leftovers instead of throwing them away or allowing them to go bad will cut your grocery bill significantly, okay? But what I've learned most is how short life really is. I thought cancer taught me that, but somehow I forgot. Maybe because I keep waking up, I take for granted the fact that tomorrow really is not promised to me. But this coronavirus can take you out in the matter of a weekend. It's thundering and lightning outside, so ignore that. But you can see someone one day and the next week they're gone. How devastating is that? It is easy to forget just how short life is and how important people are until they are gone. Which brings me to today's topic. Today I want to talk to you about family matters. Family bonds should be one of the closest bonds in your life outside of God and marriage. Your family is most certainly should be in the top 3 of importance, or at least they certainly should be in the top 3. There are many Bible verses that speak about the family unit. However, the one that strikes me most is 1 Timothy 5:8, which states in the King James Version, "But if any provide not for his own, and especially for those of his own house, he hath denied the faith, and is worse than an infidel." I will read it from the New International Version, or NIV. "Anyone who does not provide for his relatives, and especially for their own household, has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever." Basically, God is saying love begins at home, or charity begins at home. Family is defined as descendants of a common ancestor. Some synonyms for family is kinfolk, bloodline, tribe. Family is an institution ordained by God that He Himself strategically put together. When I speak family, I'm talking about family that extends beyond husband and wife, like mama, daddy, sister, brothers, aunties, uncles, cousins, and so on. I am talking about family, your bloodline. Your family, your original tribe, and should be the first line of best friends. That is what family should look like. However, I am aware there is no perfect family. Most families have issues. I just watched a great movie about the Clark sisters. I don't know if you saw that, but it was an outstanding movie. But it did reveal family issues, even with that legendary family. There was family dramas and disagreement. There was plenty of it in my own family. Sibling rivalry in my family was horrifying, especially between my brother and I, because we fought like cats and dogs. We were the oldest of 2 out of the 4 of us. For years, my family was divided and treated each other like we didn't love each other. Even into adulthood, we held on to childhood hurt and rivalry. It was a heavy price to pay and a great burden on my family. I personally didn't realize that until my brother passed away suddenly last year. No one knew how ill he was, including me. And I took for granted to go into the house to say hello that Thanksgiving weekend before I went to Thanksgiving dinner. I said to myself, I don't want to disturb him because I heard that he was sick. And I said, I'm just going to let him rest. But the real reason was I was a little upset with him about something, and I just didn't go say hi. that opportunity would have been the last one I'd have to see my brother alive. He went to the hospital that Saturday, and by Sunday, my brother was gone. He was gone forever. And as I received calls through the night, having to assist in making decisions on if we would allow him to pass away peacefully or try everything to save his life, at that moment, I realized I had wasted years not speaking to him or being angry with him. I realized how important he is to me. Now I miss him. I miss his laugh and many things about him. I am happy I did get a chance to tell him that I loved him before he passed away. That I did do during our last conversation we had when he was in the hospital. But you see, families aren't the same. There are some families with great family units, and there are some that are totally dysfunctional, but none are perfect. The difference is some choose to love while others choose to divide, making conscious efforts to not have anything to do with one another. What a shame. Hey, I'm not naive and understand that some secrets some families can harbor are heartbreaking. But there should be nothing your family or anyone can do that should make you carry the burden of discontent, hate, and unforgiveness. It's just too heavy a burden to bear. You want to know why? Because that burden affects you in a derogatory way. It affects your physical and mental health and well-being. It's not worth it. Besides, at the end of the day, family matters. Yes, family matters. I find one of the greatest issues in families is not understanding each other's worldviews. A worldview is an ideal or perception we have about the world we live in. What we fail to realize is we could have been raised in the same household with the same parents and have different worldviews. It's because our personal experiences with the world or in life conforms our views about life and about things. My brother had different experiences than me in life that made him act a certain way, just like my experiences made me act a certain way. I wish I had understood that earlier and addressed the issues constructively earlier in life. I possibly would have been more empathetic towards my family. I'm saying this to say, we may not agree with family, and I must agree that some family members can be mean and you have to love them from a distance, but the key word is love. But if you're the one making a conscious effort to dislike them, cause division in the family, even causing your children to dislike because you dislike, or you're choosing to love from a distance just because you have chosen this mindset, I'm here to help you by saying you are a part of the problem. I am not convinced that there are things in life that are unforgivable because I have done horrible things in my life. But God found fit to forgive me. So with that same level of grace and mercy, I have to find a way to forgive others who have hurt me. It's not easy. But I can honestly say that there is nothing my family can do that can make me hate them. Nothing, absolutely nothing. I am here for them. There was a family member I loved dearly that got upset with me, and I promise I had no clue why. They just stopped speaking with me. I never knew why, and up till this day I don't, and it doesn't even matter. Nevertheless, I was hurt. I was so hurt that I began to say things like they were dead unto me. But let me tell you something, carrying that around in me was hurting me more than they could ever. It wasn't until I decided that I would love them anyway, regardless of how they felt about me, that burden of intentionally disliking them, unforgiveness, and those feelings of rejection, they were all lifted off me. Said that to say, we can't always control others' actions toward us, but we can certainly control ours towards them. We don't have to be the victim. You see, as long as I was harboring all that hurt and those negative emotions around, I was the victim. I had to change my mindset to free myself from the woe is me mentality. That opened up my heart towards my family and this particular family member more. Because when I was hurt, I was angry. I said mean things out of anger about my family life. Just because they are family, that don't mean nothing. And I know that I am not the only person who have said mean things to or about those in our first tribe. I've heard the saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. I've heard that before, but I'm sorry, that is not a true statement. Because words do hurt. Not only that, Proverbs 18:21 says, the tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruits. Those who love using their tongue to speak good and evil things will deal with the consequences. Instead of saying, just because they are family, that doesn't mean anything, say something like, because they are family, it means everything. They are relevant. Yes, God will send people in our lives that will treat us like family, sometimes better. But that does not diminish the importance of our own family. We have to speak life over our family, not death. Declare that our family will be healed. And we ourselves need to be a part of the solution. As we are building our platforms and our names, we must be whole. Having our family all out of order is a distraction. As we are dreaming and pursuing big, we must think and act bigger. It works hand in hand. And it takes a big person to be able to forgive others and look beyond their faults to love them anyway. Doesn't mean you have to be with them every day, but you love them anyway, every day. Family is our tribe ordained by God. And if we are not taking care and loving each other right, we are like non-believers in God's eyes, and that is deep. We need each other to survive. We tolerate everyone else, our jobs we don't like, mean supervisors, not so faithful or abusive spouses or significant others, disloyal friends. We tolerate them, but let a family member treat us a fraction of the way some of us are treated by others, and we will have no mercy. We cut them off. This is not the right behavior. We expect them to treat us better than we treat them. I am protective over my family, down to my cousins. They are my first tribe ordained by God. If we understood that fact, I think we'd appreciate God's plan a little bit more. There is a reason He chose family to be family. There is a reason He chose our families, and it wasn't for discontent. He will always get the glory out of His decisions. As your accountability partner, I want to advise you that we can't play with time like we have it. Let me say that again. We cannot play with time like we have it. Corona has taught us that. Tomorrow isn't ours yet. Let's get this thing right. Let's fix our hearts concerning our families. Try to be the solution to family issues, not the problem. Remember, you can't fix them, but you can fix you. Don't carry that burden of discontent. Instead, choose to make time to create memories with your family. Live in freedom, please. Well, my dear friends, I pray that everyone continues to stay safe and take care of your family and loved ones as we get through this time of uncertainty. You pray for me, I'll pray for you. But we will get through this together. I promise. Well, I have come to the end of this episode, and I hope that you can find something in this episode that you can use to apply to your life. This is Author J.B. Allen signing out. And remember to dream big, because you, my dear, are worth it. Love you guys. God bless.